All right, YouTube, it's time for Occult Literature video number 30 on the Notary Art of Solomon. Now, there's a link in the description to where you can purchase my version of this work, my edition, on Amazon. A second link as well to my books blog. A very large number of works are available now. I believe it's over 50 works, including the non-occult titles, so the library is vast and growing, and it will continue to grow for some time. The Notary Art of Solomon is one of the better-known works within the occult world. It's also one of the lengthier sort of medieval-era grimoires. Now, in the 13th century, it was compiled into what we consider its rudimentary full form. It was later compiled, of course, into certain versions of the Lesser Keys of Solomon. I know some appear to shorten it and some omit it. It's a bit confusing. The literary tradition can become a little bit convoluted at times, often when you're regarding these works. It's like the Bible, compiled, as it were, from shorter manuscripts. Some versions of the Bible omit certain passages, they reinterpret things, they retranslate things. It becomes a bit confusing. But the work is a standalone work. That is, it is its own text. Now let me actually open it up briefly so I know the actual page count. 86 pages, on the higher side, certainly when we're dealing with a work of its age. Would be kind of on the upper side even for a later work, even for something written in the Renaissance or even the Enlightenment. So it's a fairly good work as far as its length goes. The Notary Art of Solomon is mostly an oration form. That is, there's a series of spiritual orations, of sort of these angelic or blessed words by which certain powers are granted. It also goes into a great deal of description regarding categories and hierarchies, sort of categorizing, for instance, the natural sciences into things like hydromancy and pyromancy and so forth. There are some who consider it vaguely spurious when it comes to actual occultism. However, it actually comes before some of the works it's associated with, so you can read into that what you want to. I think that the Notary Art of Solomon is one of the better works within the occult. Much of its content isn't so much hands-on, that is, well, here's the seal of this demon, here's how you summon it with this bell and this knife, and then mutter the following invocation. It's not so much that as it is a very lengthy philosophical expose. Now, sometimes philosophical works are actually better than their hands-on counterparts. It really depends on the tradition. It depends as well on the time period. You go to the Enlightenment, a lot of times the philosophy is more occult than the hands-on stuff is. The hands-on stuff's just like folkishness and herbal medicine. The philosophy is actually talking about the real demonology, the real sort of history of man or whatever as it was envisioned at the time. This is no exception. This is one of those more or less philosophical works, probably 80% philosophy to 20% actual content as far as something the reader can actually make physical use of, that actually stands out as being both well-written. It's coherent. It's capable of being understood, number one. And number two, it's actually useful for somebody within their occult practice. Again, this is one of the works generally bundled with the Lesser Keys of Solomon. Therefore, naturally, it will be of interest. In the future, I plan to release all of the works within the Lesser Keys as I edit them, individually as well as wrapped up within an edition of the actual Lesser Keys of Solomon. However, the Ars Notoria, the Notary Art of Solomon, was one of the very first works which I actually worked on. As such, its formatting is not completely perfect. It's almost perfect, not quite up to the new standards that I apply, but it's certainly readable. There's no glaring flaw with it. It doesn't have sort of the stupid grammatical mistakes you see in facsimile copies. It's still cheaper than the other versions you're going to find. You're not going to find anything better. Oddly enough, although this work does mention at several points certain seals and so forth, it only has one illustration. I'm not exactly sure why that is in retrospect. I think it could have been more illustrated, but I just took the text and ran with it and released my own edition. I wasn't willing to dig further and find out why specifically that was the case. So it's not exactly a brilliantly illustrated piece, but that just means that 86 pages, it's really all a bunch of text, so you're not getting a bunch of filler either. I suppose some people can appreciate that. But yes, one of the better works. Currently the bestseller, having supplanted the Grand Grimoire somehow. I don't know how the fuck that happened. But yes, if you would like this work, my edition is available on Amazon, link in the description. Again, second link to my books blog. That's about all. Peace out.